You guys know me. I got to see it, and it's got to be good. Got to wait. Got to wait. There we go. Looks like it's happening. Looks like it's happening. Just got to make sure. I got to see myself. I got to see me. I've seen me. I have seen me, and it is good. It is very, very good. What is up, everybody? Good afternoon to all my East Coasters. Good morning to all my West Coasters. Good evening if you're in an evening time zone. And, of course, if you're in the future, you got to fix climate change for the rest of us. If you're a day ahead, Australia, New Zealand, get on it. We are counting on you. Welcome to the patron stream. This is where I respond directly to the patrons. And the patrons help build this stream. And you can only find the replay of this stream on Patreon or on Rockfin. The replay of this stream will not be available on the YouTube because this is the patron stream. And if you're catching this live and you think, Ron, I want to join your Patreon, how can I do that? Well, you go to patreon.com/Ron Placone, and for a give what you can level, you get all kinds of exclusive perks, including the replay of this stream. And of course, you can contribute to the stream. You also get a Zoom show once a week. I do a Zoom show just for patrons. And I'll make you your own theme song. You just have to ask me, and that's all for a give what you can level. I know times are tough. And of course, if you're struggling right now, of course, don't worry about it. But if you're on stable ground and you won't miss a certain amount each month, even if it's just $1 a month, that goes a long way. Patreon.com/Ron Placone. All right. I know some of you might be like, wait a second, Ron, what's going on? Why are you... The patron stream is happening in the middle of the week on a Wednesday. What are you doing? Are you messing with us? Are we being punked? Or you're not. So tomorrow, Professor Gabriel Rockhill is going to be on the show. He was by request. A couple of y'all requested him. He does a lot of work on fascism. So I'm really looking forward to talking to him and, about how his research and how his body of work is very applicable to what is going on right now in the contemporary United States. So I'm excited to talk to him. His teaching schedule is such that Thursday is a much better day for him than Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. So we'll be doing a regular episode with him tomorrow. That'll be a regular Get Your News On With Ron stream at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. And that'll just be, a regular streaming on the Twitter, on the YouTube, the drill. But today we're doing the patron stream, and you might be thinking, Ron, why is it on a Wednesday? Why isn't it like later in the weekend? Why aren't you just not streaming today at all? And later in the weekend, we're just going to do the patron stream. Well, because we are going to go through an audio upgrade. And of course, that is thanks to you, the patrons. So thank you to everybody who supports this show via Patreon, via Rockfin, via Super Chats. And of course, those of you who are not able to contribute financially, but you contribute in other ways by liking these videos, sharing these videos, making sure you're subscribed, tweeting these videos out, sharing them on your Facebook. That all goes a long way. Watching the ads all the way through for me and all the content creators you know and love, that goes a very long way in sustaining what we're all doing here. So thank you so much for that. And because of your support, I was able to get an audio upgrade. I was able to get some new equipment, and so I'm going to be working on that over this week. So after tomorrow, come Monday, we should have the audio upgrade done. You guys know that, this show is still very new compared to a lot of other shows. It's still, I think we're just starting our third year now officially. So it's still a relatively new show, and it started very bare bones. I think I was just using my laptop cam at first, I'm pretty sure. And I was just kind of live streaming from my room. And that was it. And now, equipment has gotten better compared to where it started. I got a screen behind me. And the show has evolved over the past couple years, but we still have a while to go. There are still certain things that need to be done to get this show to the level I would like it to be. And we're going one step at a time. I am not the most tech-savvy guy in the world, So it takes me a little bit of time and effort, and there's a learning curve to kind of do what needs to be done. I do not have an on-site producer or anything like that. I am not at that level yet. I hope to get to that point. But as of right now, I am not at that point. So it's just pretty much just me. And then, of course, my editor, Joe, edits the clips later. But it's just Joe and myself making this ship sail. And so yeah, it's one step at a time. And come Monday, we should have a pretty significant audio upgrade here on Get Your News On with Ron. So I'm pretty excited about that. But that's part of the reason why we're doing the patron stream in the middle of the week as opposed to the end of the week. I want to spend some time making sure things are ready for for Monday. And R.A. the Rugged Man, the hip hop artist, he's going to be on the show Monday. I'm so excited to talk to him. He's a really good rapper and also a big lefty. So I'm totally stoked to talk to that guy. He's going to be on the show Monday. So yeah, you know the drill. You know the drill. Where's Lucy? She's on the couch. I was wondering about her. All right. To the patrons, let me see what y'all are saying. First of all, this is from Michelle. So Michelle shares this, and she says, this is right up your alley. And she's right. I took a glance at this. It is right up my alley. And this takes us out to Toronto, Canada. I love Toronto. I've seen a Maple Leafs game before. And you all know up in Canada, and I know this is surprising to nobody, but up in Canada, they really know how to put on a hockey game. I've only ever seen a game, as far as up in Canada goes, I've only ever seen a game in Toronto. I've never seen a game in Vancouver or Edmonton or anything like that, but I've seen a game in Toronto, and they really know how to do it. They know how to do it right. They know how to create the right ambiance. They know how to do live hockey up in Canada. And it was a blast seeing a Maple Leafs game in person. It was a lot of fun. Live sporting events, they used to be a thing that we did. And anyway, I saw a Maple Leafs game up in Toronto. And I did other cool things in Toronto, too. I like that town a lot. And hopefully, when we get on the road again, we're going to add Toronto. When we go back out on the road, Graham and myself, and we've talked about this, and I know we've announced this publicly, but we're going to just do all of our dates at once. Instead of doing like one section at a time on the weekends like we have been doing, we're just going to do a big nationwide tour. Because of that, we're going to be able to add some cities that we originally weren't going to be able to get to. We're going to be able to come back to some towns that we weren't thinking we were going to be able to go back to. We're going to be able to hit a couple smaller markets that we didn't think we'd be able to hit. And we're going to be able to just kind of add some cities that are in the vicinity of places we'll be. And Toronto is one of those cities. Vancouver is one of those cities. Pensacola, Florida, we're probably going to be coming back to you. Kansas City, we're probably going to be coming at you. Don't know exactly when. Don't know exactly. No one knows exactly when. One day at a time. Really 1 hour at a time, quite frankly. 1 hour at a frickin' time. But anyway, Toronto. This story takes us there. Check it out. This is from Michelle, and this is right up my alley. Fed should be ashamed of Toronto's broadband plan. So this is a piece here by a gentleman named Peter Nowak. And he says, just how bad is telecom affordability in Canada? It's so bad. The largest city in the country, which I get. So I didn't realize Toronto was the largest. I thought, well, I guess that makes sense. Yeah. Because I was going to say, well, what about Montreal? But yeah, Toronto's bigger than Montreal. And I guess it's bigger than Vancouver, too. That makes sense. I mean, everyone says like Vancouver is like the LA of Canada and Toronto is like the New York of Canada, which, you know, people describe Toronto in this way. And I think it's pretty accurate. It's basically like New York and Chicago met and then it's cleaner and safer. And that's basically Toronto. I feel like that's an apt description of Toronto. It's like New York meets Chicago, but it's cleaner and safer than both of those places because it's in Canada and not in the United States. But anyway, so here Peter goes. Just how bad is telecom affordability in Canada? So bad, the largest city in the country is considering building its own broadband network to reduce its reliance on Bell and Rogers. Toronto Council will on Tuesday discuss proceeding with its own fiber network after the proposal received unanimous support from the city's executive committee last week. The purpose of the network is to provide affordable, super fast service to Torontonians. That's a mouthful, is it not? Say that 5 times. Torontonians. That makes you all sound like warriors. Torontonians. I have a couple friends in Toronto. I'm going to call them that from now on. I'll be like, how is your life as a Torontonian? They'll be like, how is your life as an Angelino? And I'll be like, it is okay, thank you. It is, I worry that we are devolving into dystopian chaos, but in the meantime, the weather's great. I'm enjoying the scenery to the best of my ability. A recent report by the Brookfield Institute at Ryerson University found that more than a third of households in Toronto are worried about paying their home internet bills over the next few months, and more than half of the city's low-income households also have download speeds below the CRTC's national target of 50 megabits per second. So out in Canada, in Toronto, they're thinking about building basically a municipal broadband network. Now, here's my take on this. So there's a couple things going on in Canada that we have covered on this show. I don't know all the nitty-gritty because their system is a little bit different than ours as far as their broadband system. There's definitely some similarities. I know that the big companies there are Rogers and Bell, and those are the big cable companies. Now, there is a universal broadband bill in Canada, and there are certain laws, or maybe laws is the right way to put it, certain requirements, certain thresholds that need to be met. But they're allowing these private cable companies to participate in at least some of it, if not all. So when we covered that bill, my overarching thing on it, I'm glad it exists. I think overall it is a good thing because it's going to allow them to reach, I think, about 98% connectivity with a goal of 100 by, I believe it's 2026. That's a good thing. The fact that the private cable companies are involved, that's not a good thing. But there are more restrictions on what these private cable companies can get away with in Canada versus the United States. So it is reeled in a little bit more. So, you got to just kind of see how it happens. Now, if a place like Toronto were to build their own municipal network, now, if Canada's experience with municipal networks is anything like the United States, they're going to find out, I don't really need these headphones at the moment. I wear these headphones whenever I'm by myself. I'm sharing a secret right now. And so buckle in, but here's the secret. Whenever I'm by myself, and I have headphones on, I technically don't really need them unless I'm sharing audio with y'all, which I don't think I'm going to be doing today. But I wear them no matter what to try to mask how freaking ridiculous my hair has become. My hair is all over the place. It's just everywhere, and it's nuts. And I can't... Well, they have reopened salons in California, so I'm still going to wait a little bit, but I'm eventually going to go get my hair cut, or I'm going to have a friend of a friend of ours, my wife and myself, a friend of ours is a hairstylist. He has been doing some home calls, and we're thinking maybe him and I will go up on the roof where I live, in the apartment complex where I live, and he'll give me a little haircut. It won't be a little haircut, actually. It'll be a big fucking haircut because my hair is just everywhere. And we got to make sure that it's not super windy. Otherwise, my hair is just going to blow all over the place. And then it's like, they'll be like, it's a little, somebody might be down below on the grill. And then there's just a little some Ron head pubes are just flying down below. That's not polite. That's not, that wouldn't make me a good neighbor. And I'd like to be a good neighbor. I've been meeting some of my neighbors, and that excites me. You guys know that in Pasadena, I didn't really know any of my neighbors. Here in San Pedro, folks are a little friendlier in San Pedro than other parts of Los Angeles. And there's a stereotype, I guess you could say, about San Pedro, that the people who live in San Pedro gush about San Pedro. I have been living that stereotype. I really like it here. I see why that stereotype exists. I mean, look, how can you not expect me to like it here? It is Little Italy. It is a punk rock capital in the world, and there's a beach. How can you not, you can't put me here and expect me not to like it. Oh, and there's great hiking. and great food. I mean, how are you? Oh, yeah. Who would like that? I like it. Of course I like it. So, why was I talking about San Pedro? How did that come out? Oh, yeah. It's a little more friendly. Sometimes I've seen some of my neighbors around. There's this new guy moving in who just moved in, and he looks like he plays in a band. And, he introduced himself and told me what unit he was in. And he was like, dude, swing on by sometime. And I think I want to do that. I really like the idea of having friends, and you could kind of have a nice little socially distanced beer out in the courtyard, 6 feet away, masked up, whatever. And yeah, anyway, so I think it'd be cool getting it back to Toronto. Let's go back to Canada. You guys know Ron loves places, and here he goes from Southern California all the way up to Toronto. And I think if Toronto did a big municipal broadband project, and let's say they have a similar experience to the United States, which they probably will. And what is that experience? Well, when a city builds their own internet infrastructure, it's typically way better than what the private cable companies are offering. You can see that study that Harvard University did with the Institute of Local Self-Reliance. We covered it on this show multiple times. Pretty much every city in the United States that has their own municipal broadband network, which is city-owned internet, they offer residents better internet at a better price than the big cable competitor. So let's say Toronto does that. And there have been other places in the world that have done similar things. Places out in the UK. We've covered a lot of that stuff in other parts of the world, not just the United States. So let's say Toronto does that, and Toronto finds out, oh, we just built our own network and it kicks ass. It's way better than what Rogers is offering or Bell. Well, that's going to spread, and that's going to make its way into potentially their public broadband for all bill. They're going to say, you know what? We got to pump some money into community broadband development because we're seeing better results from the community broadband development. And then Rogers and Bell, I think it's Rogers and Bell. I know Rogers is definitely a big one, but what's the other one they list? I just want to make sure I'm saying it right. Let's see. Where did that was in the article. Where does he say? Bell, yeah. Rogers and Bell. Those are the main two ones. Rogers and Bell, they're either going to have to ante up and have their infrastructure match what the city can offer and be competitive pricing wise, or they're done. And I feel like in a place like Canada, that's easier to accomplish than in the United States. We have big cable has a much more extensive stranglehold here than Canada, I would guess. I can't say that for sure because I only have so much experience up in Canada, both being there and dealing with Rogers and just based on what I've read. And I know we all have the tendency to say, hey, the grass is always greener on the other side. But yeah, so I hope Toronto does it. I hope Toronto builds this kick-ass municipal broadband network and they find out it's way better than what big cable is offering. And they say, hey, in this public broadband initiative that we got going on in Canada, we need to set aside a lot of funds for community development because look at what Toronto just did with their community network. So thank you for sharing that, Michelle. And I hope that Canada gets some really kick-ass internet. And then one of you adopts me. Really, Ron? Just went, oh, San Pedro's so great. The weather's great. But here you are asking us to adopt you. Right on. Thank you for that, Michelle. That is right up my alley. And I like kind of keeping tabs on what's going on in Canada. Greg, what's up, buddy? You say that you're hopefully going to make the Zoom show on Thursday. That's the patrons only Zoom show, by the way. There's some public Zoom shows coming up. I'm going to announce those later, but I hope you make it, buddy. And I hope all is well in the Netherlands. Let's see. Nina, what's up? How are you, Nina? Oh, wait, before we get to Nina's story, I have another thing that I needed to mention. From patron George. George has his own podcast. It's actually called Podcast by George. Check it out. I've been a guest there a couple times. And I actually did George's theme song for him. Because again, if you're a patron, patreon.com/Ron Placone, and you want a theme song, I'll make it for you. And that's all for a give what you can level. So some people who have their own podcasts and shows, they have had me do podcasts. They've had me do theme songs for them. Indie Left, I've done their theme song. George, I've done his theme song. Who else have I done? And I've done theme songs for couples. Someone told me they might use my theme song at their wedding, which that's badass. That is badass. And yeah, it's pretty cool. So anyway, George, I know you desperately want this to be a reality, but I got to address this. I know you sent me something this week, and I am very sorry, George. But no matter how hard you try, no matter how hard anybody tries, I will never enjoy the music of John Mellencamp. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. George, I know that you're trying. I know, George, you live in the heartland. I know that about you. I know that you're in Iowa, and I know you're thinking, Mellencamp, Indiana, Iowa, Mellencamp. He's a heartland rocker. He was, I'm nostalgic for those small towns, baby. Well, look, I'm sorry, George, but I grew up in Pennsylvania. You grew up closer to Indiana. Well, I grew up closer to Jersey. And I'm not one of those guys who's singing about the small town. I'm one of those guys who was born to run, if you catch my drift. And I've been running a long time. And I'm still running in spirit. And I'll be running again all around the world, hopefully, when live performance comes back. I'm a Springsteen guy. And I'm just not a Mellencamp guy. That's not saying one's right and one's wrong. Everybody to each their own, George. But I can't get down with Mellencamp. I just can't. I don't enjoy his tunes. I just don't. And, I went to college in the town that he lives in, and which is Bloomington, Indiana. That's where Indiana University is. I went to Indiana University. And he doesn't have the best reputation in town. He's got a reputation for being kind of a dick. He was a dick to one of my friends before. One of my friends was a parking attendant. All right, so this is great. This was when we were all in college. One of my friends, who I think was actually my roommate at the time too. But my buddy was he had a work-study job, and his gig was he was directing the parking for one of the IU football games. Like, he was telling people where they can and can't park. And John Mellencamp pulls up, and I think it was a pickup truck, and he pulls up and he parks somewhere he can't park. And my buddy goes, "Hey, man, you can't park there." And apparently John Mellencamp was like, "Oh, come on, dude. I'm going to be late for kickoff." And he goes, "Well, you have to move your car. Then you can go see kickoff." And he goes, "Don't you know who I am?" And my buddy was like, "No." My buddy didn't recognize John Mellencamp, which is awesome. My buddy's like a huge punk rocker. If that guy, if it would have been a member of the Lawrence Arms, my buddy would have recognized him. Or if it would have been someone from Alkaline Trio, my buddy would have been like, "Oh man, can I have an autograph?" But it was John Mellencamp. My buddy didn't recognize him. And he goes, "You know who I am?" And my buddy goes, "No, but you got to move your car." Like, I don't care who you are. You got to move your car. Good for my buddy. That's a beautiful story. So yeah, anyway, he sent John Mellencamp a packing. And yeah, so George, sorry. I know you're trying. I know you're sending me some Mellencamp deep cuts, but I can't. I'm just not a Mellencamp guy. I'm a Mellencamp guy. I'm not a Little Pink House guy. I'm a Born to Run guy. I'm a Born to Run guy. Now, Springsteen, I love. Springsteen, I love. I talk Springsteen with a lot of people. I think, converted people into Springsteen fans who weren't before. Because some people, it's like when they're introduced to Springsteen, maybe they just hear Glory Days, or they just hear Born in the USA or something like that. Which, by the way, Born in the USA, protest song, not a patriotic song. That is a protest song. Reagan didn't bother listening to the verses. But, and then I'm like, wait a second. You just heard Glory Days. You decided you don't like, no, you gotta really listen to Springsteen. You gotta get the Born to Run album. You gotta listen to the 8-song Power album, start to finish, a formula that has been honored many times over by bands to this day. The 8-song Power album, something I celebrate. A more contemporary one, which I think is a 2012 release, so it's actually getting up there at this point. It's almost it's going to be 10 years old soon. Is Celebration Rock by Japan Droids. which, hey, gets us back to Canada. Japan droids, they're out of Vancouver. There you go. There you go. So anyway, George, I appreciate the effort, my friend, but I just don't think it's going to happen. And check out George's show, Podcast by George. All right. Let's see. Moving on to the other. Nina, what's up? Nina, you bring us back to Canada. We're going to Canada again. Guys love taking me to Canada. The patrons love taking me to Canada. What are you telling me? You telling me I should move up there? Well, you're going to have to adopt me. You guys, Canada, you don't want us up there. I think a lot of us would go up there if you let us. You don't want us there. You do not want us up there. And I don't blame you. I do not blame you. But look, if you want us up there, you're going to have to start adopting us. You're going to have to, yeah, and it'll have to be, I'm already married. It'll have to be, my wife and I actually talked about that. She has family up in Maine. And I'm like, nobody ever wondered just a little further north? You don't have any Canadian family? She's like, no. I'm like, okay. We had that discussion when we were engaged. I'm like, do you have family in Canada? She's like, no, it was Maine. And I'm like, well, I mean, you're so close. Nobody ever just wandered up there or fell in love with somebody north of the border, and they could hire us or something. It's always good to have a backup plan, is what I'm saying. Anyway, Nina says, in the desperately searching for positive news department, I feel you there. In spite of COVID, Quebec's hotel, is open again for its 21st season. Inspired by its Swedish namesake, it's located near Quebec City and offers day tours or overnight stays. Enjoy. It's like you're writing me a commercial for this place. Enjoy your favorite libation from a solid ice glass in their colorful bar, and/or tie the knot. This is not a paid promotion, by the way. This is a note from patron Nina, and tie the knot in the conveniently located ice chapel. All right, my wife and I are going to come up to Quebec, and we're going to renew our vows in the ice chapel. Neither one of us are big winter people, but why not? She actually ice skates, and she does it well. Occasionally, we go ice skating, which is not easy to do in Los Angeles, but there are ice rinks. Some of them are indoors. Some of them are outdoors during certain times of the year where it's, cold enough to maintain. And for every one circle I do, she does about 3 or 4, and she'll kind of pass me up. It's very romantic, I think. It actually would have been like a fun early date. I mean, I think we were already married, but the first time we went out, no, we weren't. We were still just dating. Yeah, because we went a couple years ago. But yeah, she's really good. I'm not terrible at it. Like I'm okay. I mean, I can move, but I'm not great at it. I'm a big hockey fan, but I never played it. So I just kind of glide. Well, she can do little spins. Twirls and all that stuff. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyway, so this place is open. It's a must-see for anyone visiting Quebec City in the winter, such as during their winter carnival, although you might want to wait until next year. All right, and then you send me a link to it. All right, let's take a look. I'm curious. Now I want to at least know what it looks like. This is the ice. So I'm guessing it's like an all-ice hotel. I think Orlando, Florida has something kind of like that, which I guess is a random look, but they have like some ice bar in Orlando. Brilliant, says the Daily Mail. Brilliant. I see what they did there. So here's a picture of it. Oh, wow, that is badass looking. Look at how cool that is. So this is the Ice Palace up in Quebec. Man, or the Ice Hotel, excuse me. That looks like something out of Star Wars. Look at how badass that is. And is that the chapel? It's located in the village Vicence Valcartier in Quebec. Oh, this is the Grand Hall. So there's an ice book. How do you write in that thing? I don't know. And there's somebody playing ice chess. That's pretty cool. This is really cool. I want to go here. Who would come see me if I performed in Quebec City? Wait, is there like a small theater in the Ice Hotel? I would do a show there. We could all be dressed in winter gear, and I'll just do a show. And, instead of laughter, it'll just be people's teeth chattering. And I'll be like, I get it. You guys are into it. I'll take it. I like it. Quebec. How cool is that? There's like an ice dragon, which was the bad guy in Game of Thrones. If anyone's seen that series, that was the bad guy. Thank you for sharing that, Nina. I appreciate it very, very much. Nina, you go on to say, meanwhile, in the reality sucks department, all right, I can live with the reality sucks department. 2020 tied with 2016 is the hottest year on record, in spite of being in an El Nino cycle, which would normally cause cooler than normal temperatures, as opposed to 2016, which wasn't an El Nino cycle, during which higher than normal temperatures are expected. Awesome. Hottest year on record, 2020. Something's going on with the planet, folks. We know this, and we have to act. We have to act now, and we have to act boldly. We really do. Clock's ticking. Clock's ticking. So thank you for that, Nina. Joseph, what's up? My editor Joseph wants to know this, and this is a fantastic question from Joseph. Joseph says, let me pull it up here. Back in 2019, those were the days, huh? Simpler times, that 2019. I feel like you could go to a bar and sit inside, and someone could sit next to you. You didn't have to freak the fuck out. Live shows were a thing. I would drive to a city, and I would do stand-up there, or I'd do a live Jimmy Dore show there, and I would have fun with my friends, and then I would have fun with y'all, and afterwards we would hang out, and man, that was freaking great. Now we do it on Zoom, and it's still cool. It's not as cool, but it's better than nothing at all. But it's not the same. I mean, the commute can't be beat. My Zoom shows are performed like a little bit that way in my apartment. My stage is actually my kitchen, and I have a little setup where I move my guitar over there. Even if I'm not going to use my guitar, I still just bring it over there anyway, just so it feels kind of like a stage. And I'm usually barefoot because, all my folky friends, one thing I was a little envious of is that they can perform barefoot. I really can't. You do not want to be performing barefoot at a comedy club. Trust me. So I never really did the whole barefoot thing. It's not like I'm not getting booked at farmers markets, which is okay. I can live with that. But although, you know what? If I did music, I could perform at a farmer's market. And you know what? I bet, if I performed at the San Pedro Farmer's Market, would people, I wonder if I could do that. Because, the farmer's market in my community, it's very grassroots and it's very small, and they're trying to grow and they're looking for new ideas. And I bet if I was like, hey, let me do some music and let me kind of coordinate some music here, not just myself, but other people as well, I bet they'd get into that. All right, that gives me something to do. Find somebody to talk to at San Pedro. And, it's just something to try to help my community. Anyway, all right. You guys know that my farmer's market's a very exciting thing for me. You guys know, like, that's my big event every week. Every week I go to my farmer's market and I get excited. And I try to buy something from everybody. I don't buy something from everybody every week. Like I have like my go-tos, but there's a couple like specialty item people. Like there's this one guy, he sells dried fruits and nuts. There's a lady, she also sells, she sells kettle popcorn, and she sells cinnamon roasted almonds, which are freaking delicious. I'm sure you all have had those before. She makes them like homemade. And she also makes like pecans too. And she makes a savory version as well. I always get the almonds. They are so freaking good, but I can't get those every week. That's a treat. That's like, that's a sweet treat. I wouldn't say it's candy. I think it's definitely a step up from candy, but it's definitely a treat, a dessert. So I can't get that every week. I wish I could, but I mean, I could, but then I'd be a fucking idiot if I did. So, you know, she's a special treat. And the other guy, he sells, I got some of his wasabi peas, which I gotta say, I'm not a scientist or a medical professional or anything close to it. But I will say, I think it's worth running the experiment that maybe, just maybe, this dude's wasabi peas could cure the common cold. His wasabi, dude, you bite into this dude's wasabi peas and you just feel like it's like, you know how when you bite into something so potent, like it just sort of goes up into your sinuses and then out, like you feel it come up and out your nose, like it's like a slide, kind of like an up and down, like a roll, and it's just like it does that into your, and it just clears out your sinuses. That's what this dude's wasabi. They're very delicious. I can only have a couple of them. And then it's if you get some wasabi like residue on your fingers, that's the most freaking potent wasabi residue. So like one time I ate some of them and I had some residue and I licked my fingers like you do. And it just, I mean, I felt like I saw into the future. Now I know I can't prove this, but I'm pretty sure I saw into the future. We're all going to be fine, by the way. But yeah, it just, for a brief moment, I saw into the future and it was powerful. But yeah, that was awesome. It was so cool. Yeah, so I get wasabi peas from that guy. He also sells like dried fruits and stuff like that. Dried kiwi is pretty cool if you ever had it. Dried kiwi. So usually I'll get like one thing from one of them each week. You know, I always have my go-to crops. I get my carrots, my celery. You know, oranges are in season right now, so I'll get a fair amount of oranges. I'll still get apples, even though apples are not really in season. And then I'll get, anyway, herbs. Sometimes there's another stand where it's this community garden where I take my compost, and they don't have like big bounties in their garden, but they have some like small celery stalks, and they have some basil, and they have a couple of different kinds of basil. Actually, they're a very basil centric community garden, and that's where I take my compost. So sometimes I buy some stuff from them, try to help them out, you know, show some support. Their stuff's pretty cheap. And, you know, and then I also give them some compost. Anyway, I could probably do an entire show on farmers markets. I don't know if anyone would find it interesting, but it would just be me talking about how cool they are. Yo, great. This is really, huh? But, man, now I'm really thinking about that. I don't know. Long Beach, if you're watching today, text me, because, we should try to organize a Friday music thing at the farmers market. I mean, why not? I mean, I could play. I mean, it would, but then they'd be like, this guy's playing like anti-war protest songs that he rewrote. But whatever. I mean, I don't know. What if people are into it? Who cares? And then we could get some other musicians to just play. You know, people can set out a hat, whatever, collect some fees. You know what I mean? Just donations, whatever. God, that'd be fun. Now I really want to do this. All right. Well, anyway, moving on. All right. Joseph, you got me on a big tangent talking about 2019, but let's go to your comments, shall we? Back in 2019, I remember you covering the Save the Internet bill. Yes, which, if I remember correctly, not only reinstated the Obama-era net neutrality rules, but also codified those rules into law. The bill didn't go anywhere. And yeah, that's what it did. The Save the Internet Act, I mean, net neutrality was signed into law in 2015, formally. I mean, we kind of had net neutrality unofficially on the books since the internet's been around. It was sort of just an unofficial rule that they expected the cable companies to follow. In 2014, Verizon said, hey, we don't have to follow this, so we're not going to. And they took it to court, and the court said, well, technically, they're right. They don't have to follow this. But if the FCC designates the internet a utility, they would have to follow this. Tom Wheeler didn't want to do that because he was a cable lobbyist himself. But the public demanded it very loudly. So the internet got designated a Title II classification, which means it's a utility in our lives, not a media service. It's a utility, which is how the internet should be designated, by the way. And we got net neutrality into law. And then the Trump FCC repealed it and reclassified the internet as a Title I. So that's what happened. The Save the Internet bill was basically just a 4-page bill that said, you know what? We're going to reinstate that net neutrality stuff. It was very simple, and it said net neutrality. That was a good idea. We're bringing it back. And so the bill didn't go anywhere because the Republicans controlled the Senate. That's true. President Trump and even some Dems were against it. That is all true. It occurred to me this morning, says Joe, that though the situation in 2021 is slightly different. The Democrats technically control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. So we might have a chance of passing something like the Save the Internet Act now. In the short term, says Joe, of course, we definitely want a Biden appointed FCC chair to restore those net neutrality rules. In the long term, though, it would be nice if the existence of those rules did not depend on who the FCC chair is at the time. Getting net neutrality written into law would, at the very least, make it harder for the FCC to outright repeal net neutrality again. What are your thoughts on pushing for a Save the Internet Act style bill again? Do you think we have a good shot at getting something like that passed? Do you think digital rights organizations like Fight for the Future may be planning to push for a bill like this in the near future? All right, so a couple things. First of all, yeah, if we got it into law again, and if people ruled like, yes, the internet is a utility in our lives, it is a Title II designation. The big thing is keeping the Title II designation, because without the Title II designation, which means the internet is a utility in our lives and it needs to be treated like flowing water. Without that designation, net neutrality bills will always be susceptible. Like they'll always be vulnerable without that title. But with that Title II designation, makes it a lot harder. So you're absolutely right. As far as the Save the Internet bill, I'll talk about that first. So there's two things that stick out to me as potentially being a big hurdle there. Keep in mind, the Senate is pretty much divided evenly across party lines, with the tiebreaker being the vice president, which would be Kamala Harris, who is a Democrat. But here's two other things lurking around. Kristen Sinema, Joe Manchin. Kristen Sinema, I know, is anti-net neutrality. Joe Manchin, actually, off the top of my head, I'm not sure, but I would imagine he is. I would imagine that Kristen Sinema, Joe Manchin, and those are two, would potentially go against the net neutrality bill. And there may be, I think there's another Democrat who is also open net neutrality. And I want to say, I can't recall off the top of my head if he is, here, I just looked him up. John Tester is in Montana, and he's in the Senate as well. I couldn't remember if he was in the House or Senate, but he, I'm pretty certain, is also against net neutrality. So you have potentially three Democrats who would go against net neutrality in the Senate. So yeah, that might not get through the Senate. I think if it got to Joe Biden's desk, he would sign it. I don't think he would want to sign it, but I think like he has had a lot of public pressure on the net neutrality issue. He has said that he's evolved on it and he's for it now. Actions speak louder than words. I don't think he's actually for it, but he may need to keep up that front. I mean, he started his dinner with Comcast executives, but I do think he'd have a very hard time ruling against net neutrality. I don't know if he would. I mean, Obama didn't. So Obama didn't do a lot for it either, but he did, put pressure on Tom Wheeler. So, and Joe Biden has made the temporary head of the FCC the acting chair, Jessica Rosenworcel, who has a very good track record on net neutrality. As of the recording of this, I don't think it's been announced that she is the permanent chair. I think it is just acting right now. I don't know if he'll make her the permanent chair or not. I hope he does. But either way, there's still that fifth seat that they need to fill. Right now, the FCC is in a 2-2 deadlock. There's two pro-net neutrality folks at the FCC. There's two anti-net neutrality folks at the FCC. It is divided among party lines. So that fifth seat that Joe Biden will hopefully appoint soon, that will need to be a pro-net neutrality FCC seat. And I don't think, because there is that control of the House and Senate, I don't think it'll be super hard for him passing, getting someone into the FCC soon. I don't think that'll be super hard. But as far as getting the actual Save the Internet bill itself to his desk, I could see some of the anti-net neutrality Democrats fighting that. I don't think they'd put up much of a fight for his FCC pick. I just don't see that happening. But I could potentially see some no votes from Democrats, like Joe Manchin, like John Tester, like Kristen Sinema, on the Save the Internet bill itself. So to answer your question, what are your thoughts on pushing for the Save the Internet Act style bill again? Do you think we have a good shot at getting something like that passed? I think there's a shot. I don't know how good it is. What are my thoughts on pushing for it? I'm for it. I'm for every angle we can fight to do that fight. I mean, I was part of the campaign that Fight for the Future launched to push the Save the Internet bill in the first place in 2019, even though we knew Mitch McConnell wasn't going to put it up. I mean, we knew that. But we still wanted to rally public pressure. We still wanted to put the pressure on. We presented thousands of signatures to his office. We filmed it. We live streamed the entire thing. Demand Progress was there. The Hispanic Media Coalition was there. The Center for Media Justice was there. Fight for the Future was there. Free Press was there. Basically, I believe the ACLU was present. All the digital rights organizations in the country were there. And were adamant about this issue. And we did a live stream around it. And so it really, it really gave a nice punch in the arm to public interest around net neutrality. And even though we, of course, knew that what we were trying to get as far as a result was a long shot, we still wanted to, keep the battle for the net going. So, and Mitch McConnell, I've been in Mitch McConnell's office before. He was not there. He was hiding in a shell, but I was there. And you know what? I wore a t-shirt. I wore a frickin' t-shirt, a Fight for the Future t-shirt that said, "Keep the Internet Weird." Because I'm not going to wear a shirt and tie in the Senate building. Why would I do that? That's not an institution I respect. So I'm not going to wear a shirt and tie there. I wear a shirt and tie for a formal celebration that is deserving of such an attire, like a wedding or a funeral or, whatever. It's a ceremony. But I'm not getting dressed up for the Senate. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? Why would I get dressed up for something I don't even think should exist? I don't even want the Senate to exist. I think we, the people, we should just have people's legislatures for our laws. Why do we need the Senate? Anyway, so yeah. So I guess the short answer to your question, Joe, is yeah, I'm for it. As far as what Fight the Future is up to, I know they are doing a lot of different work right now. A lot of it's around privacy and encryption. And they've been doing a lot of really, really good things. They are an organization I am very fond of, that I've had the honor of collaborating with in the past and hope to again in the future. Members of Fight for the Future have been on my show before. So I know they have a pretty full plate right now of projects they're working on. They're also, only so big of an organization. There's just a handful of people, carrying that torch, so to speak. And so I don't know if this is something they'll directly be tackling anytime soon, but I know that if they're if there were a push for it, I'm sure they would certainly be involved. So yeah, I'm for it. I think, yeah, I think reintroducing the Save the Internet bill would be a good thing. I don't think it's a slam dunk in the Senate, but I don't think it's an impossibility either. And I'm for trying everything. I'm for everything from the Save the Internet bill to the Congressional Review Act, where they just overturned what the Ajit Pai FCC did, to the FCC reinstating net neutrality themselves when they get a 3-2 majority, to statewide net neutrality bills. Our bill here in California is even stronger than the Obama net neutrality protections. To, of course, the big final solution for this issue is citywide internet all around the country, and having we the people control our own internet infrastructure. Net neutrality will be written into our charter. That is the permanent solution. And I am for fighting for all of the above, because I believe that the free and open internet is important and essential to our lives. Without it, none of us would be here right now. Like here right now. None of us would be here. It wouldn't happen. Alex, thank you very much for the Super Chat contribution, and thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate it very, very much. Natalie Williams, what's up? How are you? I hope you are well. Thank you very much for the Super Chat contribution. Did you see the Business Insider article about how water is being traded on Wall Street for the first time ever? I did see the headline. I've not read all the way into it, but I have read about that before, where they're going to be trading water and they're going to allow people to hedge on water shortages, particularly in California. And that is terrifying. That is terrible. By the way, someone brings up, we're getting close to 100 likes. Please do smash that like button. Please smash that like button. Help us get to 100 before I sign off here. I have seen it. I need to read into it more. It is beyond disturbing. There are bills out there. Yeah, we made it. We made it. Thank you guys so much. We're over 100 likes. Thanks. So keep smashing that button, though. Don't stop. But I know that there are some bills out there floating around in California, no pun intended, floating. But there's bills out there that would completely privatize our water supply. I believe there's a contract in existence with Nestle that's out there. And these are absolutely terrifying. I mean, look what happened in Flint. Look what happened in New Jersey. I mean, this stuff, by the way, and Flint's not the only one. There's other cities in the United States that people don't have access to clean water. And we never talk about this stuff. And here in California, where we already have issues with water shortages, we don't get enough rain. We don't make the type of effort we should to collect our water. There's a lot more that we could be doing. I mean, we do have some efforts here. There are some rain bin collections. We do make an effort to collect what little rain we do get. That does exist here. There are a lot of environmental efforts made here via environmental groups and things like that. And there are some policies that are environmentally friendly. Of course, there are also drilling permits that get issued here. And you have Gavin Newsom, Mr. Hey, we're going to get off of gasoline-powered cars by 2035, which is all well and good. I think it should be way sooner than that. But that's all well and good. But then simultaneously, he's issuing drilling permits. So we have our problems here in California. The thing that is, some of these potential things that could happen in California are beyond disturbing. And, this is one of those things. So we'll see what happens. But when you read about this stuff where they're allowing people to bet on water shortages, they're basically allowing people, which, by the way, gives those people an incentive for a shortage to happen. I mean, this reads like something like an Onion article, really, where like, hey, Wall Street people are betting on water shortages. Water, that thing we need to survive. That thing will die without it. We need water or we're going to die. They're going to bet on whether or not shortages happen. So it is terrifying. That contract with Nestle is terrifying. Thomas, what's up, buddy? So yeah, thank you for sharing that, Natalie. And that is something I'm sure we'll be covering more on the show as time goes on. Thomas, what's up, buddy? I'm from Brooklyn, New York. Hello, Brooklyn, New York. And I can't wait to see you again. I can't wait to see you again, New York. God, we had such a fun show at the New York Comedy Club, or excuse me, the Broadway Comedy Club last year, or well, technically 2 years ago. It was in 2019. So much fucking fun. That was such a fun show. God, so much fun. And I can't wait to go back. And we will be back. And we can't wait to see you again. But anyway, and I've heard, says Thomas, there are some efforts towards free municipal Wi-Fi here. Anyone know how successful that's been? I'm not familiar with, I mean, unless there might be like a neighborhood, like kind of free Wi-Fi around the neighborhood. I've not heard about that myself, but I wouldn't be surprised if something like that exists. One of the things that I know they're working on in, I believe, all 5 boroughs is they have some mesh networks going. And what those are is those are networks where there are some what are referred to as super nodes, and they're basically antennas for really good Wi-Fi and connectivity, and communities are connecting that way. So there is some straight up municipal broadband efforts going on in New York City right now. It's happening. I covered it on the show a couple years back when I first heard about it. I don't know how it's developed since then, but there is some municipal broadband efforts being made, and it's a very grassroots effort. They're basically just building one residence at a time, pretty much. I don't believe it's free. I believe you have to pay for it, just like an internet bill. I think, I'm not certain how much it is, but if you just search NYC mesh networks, you'll find out more about that. And as far as, I don't know, there could be just a Wi-Fi effort around Brooklyn too, to just provide free public Wi-Fi in certain areas, which those are of course good things. There's free Wi-Fi in the harbor in San Pedro where I live, which is a good thing. There's certain city centers, they'll have free Wi-Fi, and those are all like really good things. Santa Monica has citywide free Wi-Fi, and they're simultaneously working on a municipal broadband project for residents. So a lot of times when you see these free Wi-Fi things, it also morphs into and coincides with actual municipal broadband for residents. Now, municipal broadband isn't always free. Most of the time it isn't. You still pay an internet bill, but you're paying your city or the network collective that you're a part of. You're not paying some big cable company, and you're typically getting better internet at a cheaper price. Usually that's, and I'm pretty sure with the mesh networks in New York City, that's the case. It's cheaper internet at a cheaper price, or excuse me, better internet at a cheaper price. The Dave Show. What's up, Dave? How's your show? Hope you're well. Thanks for your Medicare for All work and activism. Thank you very much. Pushing for state Medicare for All with service industry friends in Minnesota. Dave, that's awesome. And then you say at Medicare for All Minnesota, inspired by Force the Vote in Canada's universal healthcare. Any advice? My advice, first of all, would be to connect with organizations like Whole Washington and Healthcare for All California, and exchange ideas with them, talk to them. They have been doing the work on the ground floor in Washington State and in the state of California. There's also an effort in Ohio. The other piece of advice I'll give you that I hope you'll take is to email me. Go to ronplacone.com, email me as soon as the stream's over, because I decided to do this, and I haven't announced it yet, but I guess I'll announce it now, because why the fuck not? I want to organize a show, just to Get Your News On with Ron stream, where we're going to have a panel of different people fighting for single-payer healthcare in their states. So I'm going to get someone from Whole Washington. I'm going to get somebody from Healthcare for All California, and I've been in touch with all these groups. And I would love to have someone from Minnesota too, Dave. So maybe you could be the Minnesota rep I can only have so many people at once. So, I mean, obviously I won't have all 50 states represented. It will just be a small handful. But the purpose of the show will be to exchange ideas, talk about what folks have come up against, and kind of form a roadmap, so to speak, on pursuing healthcare in your state. So, Dave, please email me about that, because I'd love to get you in the loop on that. And I'd love it if you would consider being part of the show. And maybe the first time I do it, it'll be Minnesota, California, and Washington represented. And then maybe it can be an ongoing thing. Maybe folks from other states can also join a future episode, and we can kind of form a resource on fighting for universal health, or single payer healthcare in your state, which of course will lead to a federal Medicare for all. So thank you for that, Dave. Thank you for doing that. Thank you. And thank you for bringing it to my attention. And I hope you will email me. Folks, thank you so much for being part of this today. Thank you to Dave. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Alex. And to all the patrons, thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Nina. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, George. Thank you all for your contributions today. Without y'all, I could not exist. We're doing the Patreon stream in the middle of the week. For those of you who didn't hear earlier, we're doing the Patreon stream in the middle of the week because I have an audio upgrade. And after tomorrow's show, tomorrow we're doing a regular Get Your News On with Ron stream because Gabriel Rockhill is going to be on the show. We typically don't do a regular stream on Thursdays, but his teaching schedule, Thursdays are a good day for him. So we're going to do a regular episode tomorrow. He is a professor who specializes in the study of fascism. So I'm really excited to pick his brain. And he was requested by y'all. So he was requested multiple times by people. So he's coming on the show tomorrow, and I'm real excited to talk to him. And that'll be at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. And then after that, we'll be back on Monday. We're going to be talking to R.A., the Rugged Man, the hip-hop artist, if anyone's familiar with him. Brilliant hip-hop artist, and he's a big lefty and an activist. So I'm really stoked to talk to him. He does some stuff with Immortal Technique. He's great. Stoked to have him on the show. He'll be on the show Monday. And also Monday, I should have that audio upgrade. So after tomorrow's episode, I'm going to work on getting this equipment implemented, making sure everything's good. You guys know it's been a work in progress. This show has come a long way from where it started, but there's still work to be done on the tech end. Tech savviness is not my strong suit. It really isn't. So, it's been a climb. And it's been a learning experience. I have made a lot of mistakes in the past. I have made a lot of tech mistakes. And I have learned from them. And I continue to improve. And hopefully someday I'll be able to have an actual producer on site with me. This show is not at the level where I can afford something like that yet. But hopefully someday I get to that point. And if you're thinking, hey, Ron, I want to help out there. Well, patreon.com/Ron Placone. That's the best way to do it. For a Give What You Can level, you get the replay of this stream. You get the replay of the stream is only available on Patreon or Rockfin. So if you're not a Rockfin member or Patreon member, you don't get the replay of this stream. You get to catch it live. It still goes live to everybody, but the replay is only on Patreon for the patron stream, and I respond directly to the patrons. I do a private Zoom show for my patrons once a week, where the Zoom show is only open to patrons, and I work on some new jokes, play some songs, we chat it up. It's great. And I'll make you your own theme song. So if you ever wanted your own theme song, if you're a patron of mine, you can get your own theme song. And that's all for a Give What You Can level. Just have to ask me for a theme song. I make it happen. Also, couple quick announcements. February 5th, that is this coming Friday, Graham Elwood and myself are doing a Zoom show. And that, of course, is not a private patron Zoom show. That is a Zoom show for everybody. And to get tickets for that show, just Venmo $10 to Graham-Elwood. Send it to Graham's Venmo. His Venmo, again, is just Graham-Elwood. Tell him it's for the Zoom show. Be like, hey, it's for Friday's Zoom show. And he will send you that Zoom link via Venmo shortly before the show starts. You don't get it right away because we have to do it all manually. But just send him that $10. Say it's for the Zoom show. He will get you that Zoom link shortly before the show starts. And we'll make sure we give everybody time to log in. So don't worry if it's getting close to start time, it'll be coming. Don't worry. Yeah, that's what we do. We got that going on Friday. So Venmo Graham-Elwood, $10. That show starts at 10 p.m. Eastern. 7 p.m. Pacific time. So 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. We're going to be doing a Zoom show. It's going to be Graham and myself. That is happening this Friday, February 5th. And also, I have another virtual show on February 26th. I will be headlining at Flappers Comedy Club virtually. It's going to be in their virtual comedy club, so it's over on Zoom. And I'm dropping a ticket link for that in the chat right now. But you can also go to my website to get tickets for that too. You can go to ronplacone.com, get tickets for that, and that is on February the 26th. So thank you guys very much. Again, thank you to the Dave Show, Thomas, Natalie, Alex. Thank you for your super chat contributions. You help keep the show on the air. And thank you to Joseph, Nina, Greg, Michelle, and George for this week's Get Your News On with Ron patron streams topics. I cannot do any of this without you. We have an audio upgrade that's going to happen next week. I could not have done that without you. So thank you so much for keeping this show on the air and for helping it grow. I could do none of this without you. I'm also going to be getting some lighting upgrades soon. I just got to figure out how to go about it. Again, it's a work in progress, but I want to tweak the lighting a little bit. So I'm going to do that soon as well. But we're growing, we're moving, and I thank you all for that very, very much. I cannot do any of this without you. Thank you for sharing these videos. Thank you for liking these videos. Thank you for posting them on your social media, telling your friends, making sure you're subscribed because they subscribe people all the frickin' time. And Kathy, thank you so much. Kathy Lloyd, thank you so much for that very generous super chat contribution. I appreciate it so much. You help keep this show on the air. Thank you very, very much. And, when you're able to give something like that, it's very, it goes a long way because I know there's a lot of folks that, that would give if they could, but it's a tough time right now for a lot of people. So thank you very much for your generosity, Kathy. I appreciate it very, very much. Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody. It feels weird doing a midweek patron stream. It's a little different. We don't usually we do it Thursday at the earliest, but today we're mixing it up. This week, we're mixing it up because of guest availability. And tomorrow we're going to do that. We're going to do that show with Gabriel Rockhill. I'm real excited to talk to him. You guys remember I had a really fun chat with Richard Wolff, and he will be a guest similar to that. It will be there won't be as many headlines going on. It will be more talking about how the news informs his work and talking about what's going on in the United States and the state of fascism, really. So I'm excited to talk to him. I'm really glad you guys turned me on to him. He was requested by you all. And he's doing some interesting work about fascism and what it really is and how it really works. And I think that's very pertinent to what's going on in the United States right now. And I'm excited to talk to that guy. And I hope you all are excited for that as well. That's going to be tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. In the meantime, you all know the drill. Lucy, she's asleep on the couch. But Lucy, she says meow, and I say peace. Peace.